All right, we're going to be reading Chapter 5 of White Stallions of Lipizza, A Momentous Cable. Sit down. Except for a few scars that were responding to goose grease, Rosie was none the worse for the accident. Remember, Rosie is the horse, yeah. She still whickered to the white stallions each morning, and each morning there was the biggest one who glanced her way, but he and the others were totally unmindful of their effect on her and on the boy staring from the driver's seat. At school, the new term had begun and homework doubled. At the coffee houses, the tables were busier than ever now that the Lenten season was over. Hans worked from sunup to dark. There was no possibility of time off on Sundays. They seemed busier, if anything, than the other days. People seemed to eat more and oftener on the day of rest, so Hans could not queue up again at the palace entrance. So Lenten season is the season of Lent. That is the season that comes before Easter. So we're actually in Lent right now because next Sunday is Palm Sunday and the Sunday after that is Easter. The only really happy time came after supper when, with pencil and notebook in pocket, he ran to the library. He suddenly felt unbound and free. Free of the waitresses coaxing him to help with their work. Free of his mother lecturing him to wear his rubbers, to wash his hands, to clean his fingernails, to do this, to do that. Even at sight of the great National Library, his spirits soared. High above the building, on an overhanging shelf of stone, the great god Apollo drove his four-in hand across the face of the sky. The horses were bigger than life, and once inside the library, Hans felt lifted into another realm. This must be the statue of Apollo with his horses. The ceilings were high vaulted and frescoed in gold with paintings of battles and crusades and angels and horses, and there were beautiful white marble statues in niches and on pedestals. The smell, too, was nice. Never any worrisome odors of butter burning or almonds. Instead, the pleasant mustiness of old books. Best of all, in the library he had no sense of working when others were playing. All about him, people were studying too. All kinds of people. University students looking like owls behind their dark-rimmed glasses. Rabbis scruffling their black beards as they read. Serene-faced nuns with their white hands turning the pages. It was like being part of something big and important, maybe like playing in an orchestra. One night when he had finished his homework earlier than usual, he began drawing from memory the statue of Apollo driving his fiery team across the heavens. At closing time, he shyly presented this picture to Fraulein Morgan. She held it in absolute silence. Hans's face reddened. Was it so poor she could think of nothing to say? Crooking her forefinger, she motioned him to follow her into an inner office. There she carefully tacked up his picture on a bulletin board which carried no other pictures, only a few typed notices. I like it, she said, standing back to admire. You have not traced it from a book. You do horses very well, she added. Do you know, Hans, the reason for this particular piece of sculpture of the coping of the library? Hans shook his head. Well, a long time ago, the ground floor of the library housed the horses of the Spanish court riding school. It did? Hans asked in surprise. No wonder I like it here. Fraulein went on explaining. Later, Charles VI ordered a new wing built and an arcade to join it to the old stables. Today, she smiled, 2 centuries later, traffic roars through this same arcade. I know, Hans exclaimed with feeling. I drive through it every morning just so I can watch the white stallions go by. Fraulein nodded. Often I have seen you when I come to work early. Once I even spoke to you, but you were so intent on the horses you couldn't see or hear anything else. In sudden inspiration, she began searching for something in her desk. Her fingers rifled along until they picked out a cablegram. My cousin from the United States was arriving in Vienna this week, she explained with a smile. But today I had this cable from him from Washington. You see, he is a member of the president's staff and, well, here, I'll read it to you. She unfolded it carefully and read, Necessary to accompany President on inspection trip of new dams. Regret postpone holiday in Vienna. That's too bad, Hans said politely, wondering what this important stranger's change in plans had to do with him. Fraulein was picking up a white envelope from her desk. So now, Hans, if you can get away on Sunday, you may have the ticket he had ordered to the ballet of the Lipizza. I myself have twice seen it. All the blood left Hans's face. He felt sick, soul and bone, to have been offered and to have to refuse it. Fraulein waited, puzzled. I cannot get away, Hans said when he could speak. My father cannot deliver for me. People eat on Sundays too, he added bitterly. Of course they do, but Hans, do your deliveries take more than 3 hours? No, Fraulein, but I have no time to wait in line." "But you won't have to wait in line." Fraulein Morgan stood up, and her laughter was gay as wind chimes. "Here, Hans, is a reserved seat. My cousin was given the best seat in the very front row of the imperial box. You have only to be at the visitor's entrance by 10:25. She got up and placed the envelope in the boy's hands. Hans couldn't utter a word. He was afraid he might cry. Here's the nun and the rabbi working in the library. And here is Hans being given the ticket by the librarian, which is a really kind thing for her to do. Thanks.